What's up guys, my name is Darren and I'm an upper year medical student at McMaster. Having been in your shoes only 2 years ago, I can remember how exciting and overwhelming it is to be entering the world of medicine. So if you haven't already heard it, enjoy it while it lasts. In this video, I'm going to outline the two concepts, two realities, and two pieces of advice that I've found most helpful in my journey thus far. As always, timestamps in the description below if you feel like jumping to the next topic prematurely. Good morning, students, and welcome to Journal Club. Today's case study will be on a 23-year-old male who presents to his family doctor's office with fatigue, chronic headache, and difficulty sleeping. If you turn your attention to figure 1, you'll see a young, naive medical student only 1 month into his new career. Notice how he's clean-shaven, his face is glowing, and his affect is bright. What he doesn't yet know is that his obsessive desire to craft a perfect comms application will slowly chip away at his soul. In terms of natural history, expect to see bilateral darkening under the eyes by the end of his first year, significantly decreased muscle mass due to lack of time to visit your local gym, and premature gray hairs by graduation. Although this young medical student exercises regularly, typically eats quite healthy, and doesn't smoke, his risk of mental health problems, high blood pressure, and myocardial infarction is significantly elevated due to the stress he places on himself. Believe it or not, you've actually been on somewhat of a bike marathon for the past 3 or 4 years of your life, and you've just reached the top of the hill. If I were you, I'd probably take the time to enjoy the view, rest those legs, and replenish those electrolytes while you still have a chance. I know I personally was tempted to keep spinning those wheels in my first year of medical school, but medicine is really a lifelong journey, and the only way that I found to keep myself sane was to pace myself. Coming from someone who's burned out twice already, not only does it suck, but it actually takes longer to get yourself out of the rut than it does to give yourself planned out and intentional rest. Before entering medicine, you were probably somewhere to the right on the bell curve of intelligence, which meant that if you studied with groups, worked with a team, or interacted with people beyond the mere exchange of pleasantries, you probably realized that you were usually one of the more knowledgeable people in the room. Although that's really nice for your ego, that reality is about to come to the end of its useful life cycle.
This is why you wear eye protection. I was scrubbing in and I literally got a drop of soap in my eye, so now I have to rinse it for 15 minutes.
Up until this point, we've been conditioned to believe that failure and mistakes are intrinsically bad. And yes, mistakes in healthcare are somewhat different because they do have the potential to harm patients. But at the same time, no amount of studying, coffee, or guilt will change the fact that failure is actually fundamental to the learning process.
Won't go, rebound tip taken by Spades, final seconds, it's over, it's over!
Now's the time to make those mistakes, reflect on those experiences, and ultimately learn from them, because while perfectionism may be the moon that we all shoot for, remember that doctors don't even perform medicine, they practice medicine. As a young grasshopper pivoting through the fields of undergrad, you probably realized that everything that could possibly be asked on your exams was well defined within the course syllabus, conveniently laid out into textbook chapters and logically organized to facilitate the linear accumulation of knowledge. Sadly, even Dr. Mike, despite all his good looks, will never be able to know everything there is to know about the human body. Learning medicine is completely different than taking an undergraduate course because, for once, it's actually pretty impossible to know everything there is to know. So while you should still study, look things up and commit yourself to the practice of lifelong learning, it's arguably even more important to get comfortable with not knowing the right answer. Realize that your current limitations are a reflection of inexperience, not incompetence. Time is a currency that can only be spent, which means that each second in the hospital is time away from a loved one, away from other things that bring you joy outside of medicine, or away from building a passion project. The gratification that comes from saving lives on a day-to-day basis is a very, very sharp Japanese handcrafted double-edged sword. The same immense fulfillment that you will experience from saving lives on a day-to-day basis has the potential to consume your life. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, if that's the type of life you want to live, I personally found it extremely helpful to ask myself, how much of the other stuff outside of medicine am I willing to give up for my career? Now, I know the gist of this video has basically been telling you to chill out, take it slow, and enjoy the view. But at the same time, I know you're probably a type A workaholic that doesn't know how to take their foot off the gas. So while we're here, let's just talk about choosing a specialty, because that's what you have to do at some point anyways, right? I received a lot of really helpful advice in this domain, but to me, the one most helpful piece of advice was to think about the skills that I was already good at and see how that could be applied to medicine. Building on the skills that we already have allows us to have a higher chance of success because we genuinely have a baseline advantage compared to our peers. But at the same time, we tend to actually enjoy things that we're good at versus the things that we genuinely suck at. So it's kind of like a win-win situation. I grew up in a home where we didn't really make a lot of small talk, and part of that is because my mom's least favorite question was, "How are you?" She didn't like that question because to her it's a very surface level interaction that doesn't contain a lot of value. While I don't agree with her on every single thing in the world, I do realize that growing up in that environment allowed me to become a more thoughtful questioner if I really wanted to have that sort of interaction at a dinner table, for example. Combine this skill of thoughtful questioning with my highly intuitive, meticulously refined, McMaster trained active listening skills, and you get an overly energetic Asian kid who wants to be a psychiatrist. Medicine is a lifelong journey, and you're just getting started, just like myself. You're probably gonna feel like you need to rush to figure out what that next goalpost is, and let me tell you, that's completely normal. That's how you got here. But at the same time, don't forget to stop and smell the roses. Allow yourself to be amazed at the complexity of the human body, and when you're inevitably sleep deprived after an overnight call, don't ever forget what a privilege it is to be in a field that adds immense value to other people's lives. Because I have a mouth that literally runs itself, I could probably talk about anything in the entire world and never run out of things to say. So let me know what you want to hear about in the comment section down below. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to like and subscribe. Doing so helps to support this channel and allows me to keep making videos just like this one. High blood pressure. In terms of natural history, expect to see... I'm starting over again.